Good evening and welcome to Conversations with Crystal. I'm your hostess, Crystal, and this evening I have the very great pleasure of chatting to an exceptional musician, and his name is Riff from Riff Music. I saw Riff some time ago in Wagga, I do believe, and probably somewhere before that as well. And I was just struck by this gentleman's talent. And I'm sure that you will be quite impressed as well. Please welcome Riff. Hey Riff, how you going?
Yes, I'm very good, Crystal. And yourself?
I'm really, really well. I'm so excited to be speaking with you, Riff. My husband and I, well, he wasn't my husband then, but he is now. We first saw you down at Huskisson some time ago, and then on a whim on a road trip, we ran into you again in Wagga. And I was so pleased when we arrived in Wagga. We're looking for some live music and saw you. And I just think that you are one of those freaks of nature who the guitar is just an extension of.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
And I said to my husband at the time, the first time we saw you, this young man is going places and I can't wait to see what he does.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So what you're doing now is you're recording and doing an EP and traveling and bringing your music to all regional centres and some city centres as well. Would you like to tell us a little bit about that, Riff?
Yes, for sure. So, for the last year or so, I have been touring around Northeast Regional Victoria and South Coastal Victoria and South Central Regional New South Wales and South Coastal New South Wales. So that's been going on for quite some time now. I've been very consistently booked. I was fortunate enough to have some time off in the early January holidays and just recently in mid-September. So, yeah, things are well and truly in line now. And I will be hitting Melbourne for the first time in January.
Oh, how exciting.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. I'm going to be performing at the Whole Lot of Love Bar in East Brunswick on Sunday, 14th of January from 4 to 6 p.m.
Oh, that is fantastic. I'll make sure that the interview is up well in advance for that booking. Now, something else I just remembered, we were actually at Cootamundra a few weeks ago,
Yeah.
and we played the same time. And I said to my husband, I am so annoyed that I didn't know you were here, like that you were there, because we could have caught up.
Oh, yes, that would have been at the Ex-Services Club on the Saturday night.
Yes, it was, and we were at the Albion.
Oh, dang. How
Yeah,
about that?
that's what I said. Yeah, but in any case, that's what happens, and I'm sure that we're going to get to catch up with you at another venue soon. I certainly want to, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, it'd be fun.
Yeah, now, Riff, who or what was your earliest musical influence or inspiration?
So my biggest influences from when I was first learning to play the guitar were Angus Young of AC/DC, Eddie Van Halen, Jimi Hendrix, and Richie Blackmore of Deep Purple.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow, and I can see in your music when you play that you have a little bit of each of those within you. You have your own style, most definitely, but I can see those influences come through.
Yes, indeed. Yes, I've taken great inspiration from all of them, both for their guitar playing and for their performance. Yeah, I absolutely adored them. And
Yeah.
I even went as far as getting a lot of their tablature books so I can learn to play their songs note for note.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's fantastic. And you do it so well. Honestly, I've very rarely seen anybody play and perform as well as you.
Oh, I thank you very much, Crystal.
Oh, honestly, you were just somebody that's stuck in my mind. That's for sure. That's for sure. So, how old were you when you started learning guitar riff? Because I'll tell you the truth, I thought that one day you'd just picked up that guitar and that was it. So, to hear that you've actually had to learn, that's interesting. So, how old were you,
So
and how did that come about?
I was 11 when I first started, and basically how it all came around is a bit of a long story, but I will keep it short and sweet. My mother had proposed to me the idea of learning to play the guitar from
Mm-hmm.
when I was about 10. At that moment in time, I kind of brushed it off thinking, yeah, okay, mum. However, it wasn't until a couple of months later that I watched the film School of Rock, starring Jack Black,
Ah,
that I was
yep.
finally inspired to start learning to play the guitar. And it was largely because most of the students in that film were 10.
Yep.
And I thought, I could do this too.
Oh, absolutely. That's a great movie, that one, that's for
Oh,
sure.
it's one of my all-time favourites. I lost count of how many times I've watched it.
Yeah, I think that's fabulous. And to inspire you in such a way, I'm sure that Jack Black would love to know that, that's for
Indeed, yeah.
sure. Yeah. And so you've picked up the guitar, or your mum bought you a guitar?
So my mum bought me my first guitar for my 11th birthday. It was
Mm-hmm.
a Samex Stratocaster copy, and we bought it from a place in Albury.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, that's essentially how I got my start in learning not only the guitar, but music altogether.
Yeah. Now, have you learnt theory and that kind of thing, or?
So I studied music through university for about 4 years. I also had guitar lessons for that same period of time, and I had singing lessons for my second last year of studying also.
Oh, really? That's really
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, and I didn't mention that what a great singer you are
Oh,
as
thank you.
well.
Thank you muchly.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So, is any of your family musical, like your parents or cousins, for example, or is this just something that um, your mum wanted for you?
Well, Mum really just proposed the idea initially. Um, Not many of my other immediate family is musical
Musical.
per se.
Yeah.
No.
No. Oh, well, you know what? Thank you, mum, for what she did for you.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you, mum, because she's brought a star into the world.
Yes,
Uh,
video.
Yeah. So you started playing around that age and you've gone to university, you've done some musical theory and lessons during university. So, but when did you play either solo or in a band for the first time without mentioning, band names and things? How old were you then, do you think?
So I formed one of my first bands in 2013 when I was studying music,
Mm-hmm.
and we were together from mid 2013 to early 2015. So when I was studying music, I found myself playing with two dear friends of mine. So I
Mm-hmm.
played guitar, one friend played drums, and one other friend played the bass.
Mm-hmm.
So we did some performance platforms for our examinations, and we went to call ourselves Stellar Echo. So we haven't really been active since early 2015, but
Mm-hmm.
our YouTube and Facebook page are still active, featuring some videos and some originals and one cover.
Well, you know what? I would love for you to give me, and I'm sure you already have given me those links because I'm going to put them in the description of this interview,
Yes.
so everybody can check that out and see, how you got your start there. So, how did you find it the first time that you performed live?
Wow, that is quite the story in itself.
I'd love to hear it. I really am very interested.
So it was the first year that I started studying music, and I had my very first live performance, and it was at the Wangaratta Performing Arts Centre, and I was only set to play just two songs. And the first song that I went up to play, when it was my turn to get up, I had noticed that the amplifier that I was appointed to use got misplaced, and I had absolutely no idea how to use this amplifier that was in its place.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know, how the standby switch worked, and I didn't know how to change EQ settings. And while I was trying to get that sorted out, I looked out into the crowd and noticed that there was almost 1,000 people there, and
Oh my God.
I'd never breathed so heavy in my entire life. I was so nervous, it was unbelievable.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but
Wow.
thankfully I got down to the bottom of how to work the amplifier with some assistance, and I would say that the performance was okay at best.
Oh, look, I'm sure you're being very modest there, Riff. I am very sure you're being modest because of what I've seen of you, you just rip it up. So I couldn't imagine that you have never not ripped it up.
Oh, thank you again.
So, I've been dying to ask you,
Yes.
do you put many hours of practice in? Or can you hear a song once and then copy it? Or is it a bit of a process?
Well, that's a very good question. So, to start with, when I was first learning the guitar and studying music, that was my prime in practice time.
Mm-hmm.
And as I kept getting more and more professional gigs on a weekendly basis, the practice side of things just dwindled away a bit. And I found that because I was playing a gig averaging between 3 or 4 hours, rarely 5 hours,
Oh my goodness.
that would essentially be my practice. And
Yep.
that's been the case for many of musicians over the course of time. I mean, Buddy Rich was a bold example. Because he was playing music in New York every day, he had stopped practicing because he was just playing all the time.
Yeah.
In another case, Steve Howard, yes, had stopped practicing altogether because he thought that he was just good enough.
So you kind of were practicing at gigs, and I've heard, and we do it ourselves. My husband said to me, there's no better practice than getting up and just doing a gig.
Just doing it, and that's exactly
Yeah,
it in the end, because
you find out where you're lacking soon enough.
big time, like you just know in that situation. I mean, look, don't get me wrong, practice is absolutely essential, whether it's
Yes.
private or even if you're performing.
Yeah, absolutely. It really is. I mean, don't use it, you lose it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So, sorry, we didn't answer the question. Can you hear a song once and then repeat it, or do you have to practice that song and go over it?
But usually I can pick up a song by ear because that's something that I've found myself to be acquainted with as I kept getting more gigs and started learning new songs.
Yeah.
So I can learn it either by ear or I can read it via looking at the sheet music.
Yeah, of course.
So,
I really like that you can read sheet music. I can too, but a lot of musicians can't. They'll read tablature, but they cannot actually read sheet music,
yeah,
which is very interesting.
that's a common fallacy with us electric guitarists, especially lead guitarists. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I hear all sorts of jokes of people saying that lead guitarists get scared when a lead sheet or a piece of sheet music is put in front of them. I mean, that's largely because the likes of the Beatles and the Rolling Stones and Mark Knopfler of Dire Straits and Steve Howe himself, like they were mostly self-taught and they couldn't read music. But
Yeah,
because I
right.
studied music, that's where I learned to read music. And so it's pretty much a bit of a checkmate moment right there, really.
It is, it is. And I
Yeah.
think that's just another little feather in your cap. And it also gives you a little bit more understanding of
Hmm.
chord structures and, song structures and that kind of thing.
Yes, exactly. And with Frank Zappa as well. I mean, he is 100% self-taught. But the best thing about that, he learned how to not only read music, but to compose and transcribe and arrange.
Absolutely.
So that's
Absolutely.
where I laud him as a massive influence right now because, he was an absolute genius. Like not only with his music and his composing and arranging skills, but also his production skills.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like he was a massive influence on me.
Yeah.
And when I
I love.
when I was studying music too, so yeah.
Can I ask you what was when you went for your exam at university?
Yeah.
Do you remember what piece of music it was that you played?
So are we talking about my first performance in 20?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Let's talk about yes.
Yes, so the song that I played was Nothing Else Matters by Metallica.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Did you happen to sing that as well or
No,
no, there's no singing. It's yeah.
there were from what I remember there were three female vocalists singing it.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. Ah, that's very interesting and I like that you can remember because I'd probably have a bit of a hard time. So we all know that you play a guitar. Now, please tell me all, or tell us all about that double-necked, beautiful guitar that you have.
Yeah, so that is quite the story in itself as well. So
Yep.
that's the guitar that I predominantly play as a solo artist. And the minute that I first saw it, I instantly fell in love with it. And I also saw it at the time, how many people around this area, Wangaratta, Northeast Regional Victoria, how many people do you see playing a double neck guitar?
I have never seen one, and I'm in Sydney.
Mm. Yeah, so
Never.
it's not often that you see something like that for a local live performance. So I thought to myself, why not?
Exactly. Why not? So, what is the brand? Is it?
So it's
I
an
can't remember the
it's an
brand.
Ovation
Ovation. That's it.
neck. Yep.
Yeah. Now, does it have that bowl back on it?
Yes, it does.
Right. How do you find that?
I
Like, is it comfortable to play opposed to like a Strat?
I think it is very comfortable to play, and the best thing about it is that it's very light because the electric twin neck guitars are really heavy.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I find that guitar very comfortable to play, and it was a lot smaller than I had expected it to be too, which was in.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because
Interesting.
most acoustic guitars have a very big body, but
Yep.
this one has around the same size body as your usual hollow body electric.
Yeah, right.
So
Right.
that was the most surprising thing about it.
Now, tell me the logistics of that guitar. One set is six string. Is the other part a bass area, or is it more
So
six strings? Or tell us about that.
so the top neck is a 12 string, and the bottom neck is 6
12.
string.
Oh, wow. I am so jealous right there.
I know. I mean, it's like two in one, two for the price of one.
Oh,
And it,
wow. And I think you rock it. I've watched you and I think you rock it really well.
yeah, it proves to be very versatile.
Yeah. So does she have a name?
I haven't given it a name, to be honest.
Oh, now.
Yes, I
She's a beauty, so you need to
know.
find her a name.
Yes, I will find her a name eventually. I'm not sure,
Now I've
not sure whether to call it, yeah, Hydra or something else like that.
okay.
That's already the name of one of Steve Vai's guitars, actually. So
It
better not
is,
take that one.
yes. We're going to see Steve Vai on the 4th of November.
I'm jealous.
And the day before, we're going to be in Wagga, so we're going to have to go from Wagga and shoot for a gig and shoot straight back to see Steve on the Sunday. So that's going to be interesting.
Oh wow.
That's the only way to do things, isn't it?
Mm.
So, what other guitars do you have there? I think I remember you playing a white Strat. Would I be correct?
Yes, I play a Fender Stratocaster as well. I still have that guitar to this day, and yes, it's an absolute beauty.
Yeah, it is. You get some wicked tone out of it, that's for sure.
Yes, very versatile. I can give a nice bell-like sound and
Hmm.
a very, yeah, gritty electric sound too.
Yeah. Now, do you set your guitars up yourself, Riff?
I get them serviced uh, professionally on roughly a 6 months basis.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Cool, cool. And do you have more than your Ovation and the Strat? Are you a collector of guitars, or well, only a few do?
somewhat, yes, I am a bit of a collector. I also have a cherry red Gibson Les Paul Studio,
Oh,
and
yep.
I have a Gibson Holy V.
Oh, wow.
Yes, now that's a very unique guitar. It's made of mahogany, very light, has 24 frets and one red hot pickup. And I'll tell you
Oh,
what,
wow.
it really produces a gritty tone.
Wow. And do you use that guitar on your recordings?
Yes, I do.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to listen closely when your EP comes out to see if I can pick it,
Ah, yeah.
which I'm pretty sure I can. And you're also, Riff, one of those musicians, and I do say it about a lot of musicians. You can be outside of a building and hear the guitar player playing, and you go, oh, that's Riff, or that's so and so, or that's so and so, because you have your own unique voice.
Oh, yes. I guess,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I just wanted to say that as well. So now you've got guitars. Do you play any other instruments?
I do play a few other instruments. So I play just about any stringed instrument, like from the guitar, the bass, mandolin, mandola, bouzouki. I also play percussion, a bit of drums, and just an incy wincy inch of keyboard.
Wow, that is fantastic. Very versatile gentleman you are. I love it. I love it. So at the moment you're doing a solo thing, and do you have any plans to get a band together at all?
So I do have a plan to get a band together as far as by the time my album comes out.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I have a lot of friends in which I studied music with, and a few others that I've met in my travels, and yeah, getting something together would be amazing.
Well, I look forward to hearing about that, Riff. And actually, I'll invite you right now when you get your band together in the future there. Give me a call because we'll have you back on.
Yes, why not?
Yeah, I would absolutely love that. Now, your touring, I want to ask you a little bit about that. You mentioned all over Victoria and some of New South Wales.
Yeah.
Any plans to come to Sydney at all?
Once the work is lined up there, then by all means, I have all the plans in the world.
Well, I would once again let me know because I'll promote you heavily on that, and Yeah, that'll be just fantastic.
Yes,
I know a lot of people that would be interested to come and see you.
yes, I'd love to, yeah, get some gigs in Sydney. I'd like to take the music as far as possible and for as long as possible.
Absolutely. And do you think that's more uh, you're more able to do that as a solo artist there rather than with a band? Because that's a lot of people you've got to then try and organise, isn't it?
You see, doing it as a solo artist, you can get it organised just about any time you wish. It's something
Exactly.
you to
Yep.
worry about. But when you're getting a band sorted, then that's something preferably that would need to be done like months upon months in advance.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, so any plans for that? Absolutely.
Yeah, but probably a little bit in the future. And in the meantime, everybody can enjoy seeing Riff, and, I think you're a band within yourself, actually. So you mentioned you play lead guitar. Do you ever, now from memory, you play rhythm and then lead at the same time, more or less? Would I be
Yeah.
correct?
So
Yeah.
basically, from when I was learning music, when I was studying music, like I learned that it was just as important to learn both rhythm and lead parts because learning a lead part is one thing, but learning a rhythm part is another. And I would argue that a rhythm guitarist is just as good as a lead guitarist because it's the rhythm guitarist that is adding body to that lead guitarist's time to shine.
Absolutely, absolutely. They hold down the beat, hold down the rhythm, I should say,
So
and
it's all as important as each other. So
yeah,
therefore, yeah, like I believe that it's absolutely essential to learn both rhythm and lead.
yeah, absolutely. And I think probably rhythm first because you can get your teeth into lead playing,
Yes.
and some people only want to do that and they have no other they don't have the skill to be able to do rhythm as well.
Yeah.
And I think that that's a little bit of a hole that you can fall into.
Oh, yes, big time. I mean, even the greats such as Eddie Van Halen and Jimi Hendrix learned that it was just as important to do rhythm as it was lead. I mean, and in Jimi Hendrix's case, he was literally getting his teeth into it.
Oh, he was
Yeah.
too. And when I say when I say you rip it up, oh, he ripped it up and smashed it up too.
Literally.
Literally, exactly. So now let's talk a little bit about songs you've recorded and your album coming out. So I know that you have a song called Maybe.
Yes, I do.
So when was that first recorded, Riff?
So that was first recorded in April of 2021.
Mm-hmm.
So it was quite the while ago. That was the result of winning a local competition with the Indigo Shire
Mm-hmm.
in
Congratulations.
Beechworth areas. So yeah, I had entered two songs at the time, and thankfully, at the time that I had put them forward, I was 24
Mm-hmm.
and their age limit was up to 25. So I only just barely qualified. And so I
Mm-hmm.
went ahead and said, why not? And then I did it. And surely enough, I won.
That's so great. I love
I
that.
won in
So can you,
I won in my specific age group anyway.
yeah, yep. And so do you want to tell us a little bit about what Maybe is about?
So maybe is, again, I'll say it, quite the story in itself.
I love stories. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, so it's about building up your dreams and going on to achieve greatness. And the way that those dreams, according to the song, were built up was through good times and bad times and learning.
Yeah. Yeah. And do you play all the instruments on this, or only guitar and bass, or just guitar and,
So
you know,
I play all the instruments in that song.
fantastic. I love it. I knew you did. So I think we might pause just at this moment, and I think we'll listen to Maybe.
I don't want to ever see that I'd never be with you. It's like having the best times we had and be mad the whole time through. But I don't want to ever grasp that we never had the blue. It's just that we have a little debt. I'll give credit where it's due. Well, maybe you've created a star and it can go very far. Yes, I know. And lately I've been thinking about it and I never doubt it as a show. I can't help but feel that change unless it's in exchange for love. And I don't feel acclaimed, I can't help but complain when it's you I'm thinking of. But I can't ever play that game because it's never the same without you. 'Cause every time I feel I'm at the brink, I can't help thinking about you. Or maybe you created a star and it can go very far. Yes, I know. And lately I've been thinking about it and I never doubt it as a show. Well, maybe you've created a star and now he's gone very far. Yes, I know. And lately I've been thinking about it and I never doubt it as a show. Well, maybe you created a star and now he's gone very far. Yes, I know. And lately I've been thinking about it. I can never doubt it as a show. Oh, baby.
Okay, well, Riff, I think that song is just fantastic. Thank you very much for allowing us to play it in your interview. I
No
look
worries at all.
forward to more music coming from you. Now, let's talk a little bit more about your album coming out.
Yes.
So, how many songs are going to be on the album?
So there's going to be 9.
9 songs, all originals written by you.
All originals written by myself, yes.
Yep. And are you going to play all the instruments on them, or do you have some other musicians helping along?
So I am going to play all of the instruments on them, yes.
That's fantastic. Nothing like doing it yourself, I think.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And one key influence that I look to in that instance is Kevin Parker from Tame Impala.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he played all the instruments on most of Tame Impala's work. So, yeah, and he also did that in his own home studio.
Oh, wow, wow. Now, so where are you recording your album? Is it do you have a home studio? Are you recording it there?
So I do have a home studio in which I lay down some demos,
Mm-hmm.
but I mainly go to Albury Sound Studios.
Okay, cool, cool.
That's how I get the tracks refined.
Yeah,
That's also who I go through to get them crystal mastered.
right, right. Can you tell us a little bit about what crystal mastering means?
So from what I gather, crystal mastering is what you do to get a track refined in order to be eligible to get airtime.
Oh, excellent. Now, that's another very good question. Has any of your music been played on radio stations?
Yes, my music has been played on a local radio station here in Wangaratta. It's called Oak FM,
Mm-hmm.
and the channel station is 101.3.
That is so cool. I love it. And were you present when they played it? Did you do an interview with them, or did they just have the track?
They just had the track alone.
Okay. Well, they're missing out talking to, is all I can say.
Hopefully one day I'll be back there again.
Yeah, look, I definitely think you will be. And you know what? Why not go and knock on the door? You have nothing to lose.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So when do you think this album may be finished and out?
So from what I gather, it's looking like it's going to be in early 2024.
Fantastic, fantastic. Now, I know you're going to be on the road in January of 24.
Yes.
So hopefully you'll have it finished for, you can launch it while you're traveling.
Yes, that's something that I would really love to do. And one thing that I would really love to do also is to have an exclusive album launch event, and that will be the time that I form a band.
Right. I love that idea, and I have no doubt at all that it's going to happen for you.
Yes,
No doubt at all, because as I said, you're exceptionally talented. You have the drive and the will to get it done, and I think that proves it by you've already done this wonderful song, Maybe, and you have this album of 9 songs coming out. I think you're very driven and very passionate about your music, and
absolutely.
that's a beautiful thing.
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
So some of the tracks on the album that's coming out, does the album have a name yet, or just a knock-around name yet?
So I will give a bit of a teaser. The name of the album is going to be Travel by the Waters.
Oh, what a lovely name.
So there is a bit of a story just behind that alone. I keep saying it, but I love saying it, and I will keep saying it.
Yeah. I
So-
love stories, and you've got great ones, so hit us up.
So the album, in essence, is about finding connections that are beyond blood relations, albeit to a relative or to one's own nationality. When you set sail out into the ocean to follow the sun, the light, God, etc., you reach for new days forever onwards. You reach for endless possibilities. The world is your oyster. This, I truly feel, is what sets the tone, not only for my career moving forward, hence why after many years of careful thinking and soul searching and all the rest of that, all while sitting on a mountain of both finished and unfinished material, I've chosen both the songs and the title to be the main feature of that album, Travel by the Waters.
Oh,
And
I can't wait for it to come out.
the opening track as well is going to be named Travel by the Waters also. And what I was really thinking when I had laid out all of these ideas
Mm-hmm.
was it's like what Space Oddity was to David Bowie,
Yeah.
or like what Salisbury Hill was to Peter Gabriel when he first went solo.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in Bowie's case, like, he was traveling through space. So that's where all of these different personas and all of these different types of music of his was really stemming from. Like, that I feel with Space Oddity, that's
Yeah.
what I think really set the tone for his career moving forward.
Yeah.
And in Peter Gabriel's case, he was referring to a spiritual experience in which he had had on the top of a hill, in
Mm-hmm.
which was called Salisbury Hill.
Yep.
So he was ascending into space while still remaining grounded in a way. And that is what I truly feel sets the tone for him and his solo career moving forward also. So with Travel by the Waters, it's the same story,
Yeah.
essentially, only it's told in a different way.
Yeah. Well, in the Riff way, which is, you know, fantastic as well, in my opinion.
And look, traveling is something that is second nature to me. So I feel that it's totally appropriate to include the concept of traveling. And
Yeah.
in my case, it's by the waters, any place, anytime, and there's always a story to tell.
Oh, you know what? I absolutely love that. And I cannot wait for your album to be out. So as I said, please let me know, Riff, and I'm sure you're going to have it all over your page, Riff Music on Facebook. So
Yes.
I'm really, really excited and looking forward to that. Now, do you have a funny story from any gig that you've been at? Because you've done many, many, many gigs. There's got to be a funny story there somewhere.
Oh, yes. So there's multiple, but I'll name off at least one incident. So I won't name the venue or the people involved, just for
No.
privacy purposes. But here it goes. It was quite a ridiculously busy night, and a lot of people were drinking and dancing around like crazy.
Yep.
And I had my Boss RC30 loop station pedal going with multiple loops of tracks that I'd recorded on my guitar.
Yep.
And I jumped off my guitar and moved on to the conga. And suddenly, this man who was boltering around the dance floor had literally hurled himself into the stage area and had knocked the fold back, and then in turn knocked the power supply for my loop station.
Oh,
And
no.
suddenly, soon after, everything stopped.
Oh, no.
So the loops, the guitar, everything, it all stopped.
Oh,
And
my
I was off the
goodness.
guitar when this happened too. So there was no rebooting it for at least a few seconds.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. But were any of the instruments or any of your equipment damaged?
Thankfully, no.
Oh, thank goodness for that. Because, you know, our equipment, it costs, you know, a pretty penny. And we're
Absolutely.
struggling musicians, you know. So I don't think
Yeah.
I don't think that the public kind of understands that our equipment costs as much as it does.
Yes, indeedio.
Yeah. Have you got another funny story? Because I know you've got stacks of them.
Well, yeah, there was quite a few. I'm not sure if I should tell this story or not because it may be deemed a bit rude.
Just go for it, and if it's too rude, I'll cut it.
Yes. Okay. So there's this one song in which I perform with the guitar over the back of my head.
Yes.
So it was a mix between Go Your Own Way by Fleetwood Mac and the last solo in Sultans of Swing by Dire Straits.
Mm-hmm.
So when it got to the Dire Straits part, that I call it, I put the guitar over the back of my head and I start doing all of this really technical guitar work.
Yeah.
And after the song finishes, I hear from a distance, eruption, eruption. And so I had taken the guitar down from over my head and I jumped straight into the B section of Eruption by Van Halen.
Right.
And then only later to realise that whoever was yelling this out, he wasn't saying eruption at all. He was saying that he had an erection.
Oh my God.
Oh, no.
That- That's fantastic. I love that story.
Oh, yes.
You must have gone, oh my God.
Oh, no. As soon as I realised it, I was just like, oh.
Well, I hope that playing the Eruption song was well received as well.
Well, thankfully it was.
Oh, I totally love that. That's a great story. And
Yeah.
isn't it wonderful as we go to all these different places and people are always different. They always behave kind of the same but different also. And it's just so fantastic to watch them, isn't it?
Oh, yes, big time.
Yeah. Have you ever had anybody come up to you and go, oh, I can sing a song. Let me do a song, man. Or let me play your guitar.
Oh, I've lost count of how many times that's happened.
Yeah. And how do you handle it?
I simply just say, I'm sorry, I can't allow that.
Oh, good on ya. You know, these days, because of COVID, I use that, nah, man, you can't sing on my microphone. COVID.
Yes,
And
well,
people accept that, so.
yeah, if you say COVID, then people do generally accept that. But
Yep.
another way that I could go about it is like this. I mean, you want to borrow my toothbrush too? Because sharing a microphone is
It's the
absolutely no
same.
different to sharing a toothbrush
Oh,
because
yuck, man.
you're picking up all of that plaque from when you're both using a toothbrush and singing into someone else's microphone. I mean, who knows what sort of
Oh, my
sulfur or bacteria could be on it.
You know what? You're really right there. Oh,
Mm.
that's hilarious. Yes. Oh my goodness. All right then. Well, I feel as though I might let you go right now. And once again, I will say to everybody, please have a look at the links in the description of this podcast because Riff will have all of his links there. And also make sure you listen to Maybe, his beautiful song. Now, Riff, one thing I didn't ask you, can anybody purchase Maybe on Spotify or one of those platforms?
Yes, so the song is currently on Spotify and Apple Music and iTunes, Tidal, YouTube Music, etc., etc. So that is the only track that I have available as
Just
of
at the
today.
moment. Yep.
But once this album is complete and ready to be put out there, then you'll be able to purchase 8 more.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, we're going to get the links and keep updating for you because I really do feel you're somebody's musician who's extremely talented and special. And, you know, I want to watch where your career goes,
Ah,
you
yes,
know,
thank
because
you
I
very
still
much.
feel that you haven't hit the ceiling yet, mate. Absolutely not. So I look forward to that, to your album coming out and talking to you another time, and hopefully running into you at a town when we're doing gigs. That'd be fantastic to catch up with you. And I know
Oh,
my
yes, for
husband would
sure.
love it as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, Riff, well, I will let you go. Thank you again so very much. You take care, and we'll catch up again later.
No worries at all. Thank you very much, Crystal.
You're totally welcome, and the pleasure's been all mine. Well, good night, Riff.
Good night. Pleasure as always.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, you've been listening to me chatting with Riff from Riff Music, and as I said, you can catch up with him on Facebook and see all of his music, and he is really, really quite a talented gentleman. You have been listening to Conversations with Crystal. I'm your hostess, Crystal, and until next week, when we have another fabulous guest, please stay safe, stay happy, stay cool, stay awesome, and don't forget, stay tuned to this channel. Good night.